tonight is to raise awareness for MS through MS Week, MS Month, and quite frankly, most of us try to raise awareness and advocate for it 12 months out of the year. Raising awareness, emphasizing the understanding of what multiple sclerosis is, so when you see people that might have the disease in the community, you understand better what it was or what it is. I know when I was diagnosed, I had to look it up. I didn't know what it was, and I'd been a paramedic for 20-something years. So that's the opportunity that we have during MS Awareness Week, is just to bring education to the forefront, and Dr. Bosanoff will do that for us here in just a minute. From a personal perspective, I'd just like to share a couple things. When adversity enters your life, whether it's a medical condition or something other, I know personally I had to search for something that made sense with it all, or find a reason to help me accept why this had to happen to me, or just simply grab onto something positive to help you move forward with it. Advocating for this disease is just that. It's a positive thing. I have some friends in here that advocate for this every day with fundraisers and walks and golf tournaments, and I think that's what helps us move forward with this this disease in today's world. My personal MS diagnosis came in 2019. It was life-changing for me and my family, but it also brought some very unexpected blessings into my life, and those are the people that I believe if I wouldn't have been diagnosed with MS, I never would have crossed paths with them. And they're some of the most remarkable, amazing people that I've ever met in my life. And some of them are here tonight, and you're going to get to meet one special one here in just a second. The team at Kootenai Health is far more than just care providers for MS patients, but they're trusted and they've become close friends. And I consider them extended family for myself, and I know that the folks that are here tonight with me and in the MS community, I'm echoing the same feeling for them. So at this time, it is my privilege to introduce you to an amazing person who has been just instrumental in the care and support of MS patients in this region since 2020, Dr. Nina Bosanoff from Kootenai Health. And I'll pull your slides up for you.
Thank you all so much for having me here this evening. We won't take up too much more of your time, but thank you for the recognition and this opportunity. So again, my name is Dr. Nina Bosanoff. I'm one of the only 2 multiple sclerosis fellowship trained neurologists in the state of Idaho. The other one is in Boise. So we obviously have to care for a wide range of our population that's living with multiple sclerosis. So just a couple of things to overview about multiple sclerosis, and maybe some of you are familiar with this. It is a chronic autoimmune condition. It can impact the optic nerve, the brain, or the spinal cord. And essentially what it is, it's a disruption of the communication between the body and the brain. And so one of the challenges with multiple sclerosis is the symptoms can be very different based on where the lesions can occur. So someone may have blindness, they may be in a wheelchair, they may just have cognitive changes or fatigue. And so the approach really has to be individualized as we think about multiple sclerosis. So it is a lifelong condition. Right now, we do not have a cure for multiple sclerosis because we don't really fully know the cause. But we do have treatments that can significantly improve quality of life as well as disability. So what is the impact? So as you mentioned, over 1 million people are living with multiple sclerosis. A global diagnosis is made every 5 minutes. As we talked about before, it can cause varying symptoms, and that's one of the reasons it can be so challenging to make a diagnosis, is because people may not realize that their symptoms might be from something like MS. Most people get a diagnosis between the ages of 20 and 50, but we know that there are pediatric people with MS, as well as older adults as well. There is progress and hope, which is the great part of things, and it's one of the reasons I love giving MS care. So over the past 2 decades, we have more than 20 FDA-approved multiple sclerosis disease-modifying therapies, and they can really prevent these attacks of MS and then hopefully prevent disability by preventing the attacks. So the time of diagnosis is incredibly critical. So the earlier we can make a diagnosis, the faster we can get people on treatment, and then hopefully stabilize their disease course. So what do we know about MS, especially here? So it's interesting, if you look at the prevalence of MS, as we can see in this map of the US, those dark blue states, such as Idaho, have higher prevalence rates than many of the other areas in the country. And there's still a lot of work being done in this area to understand why that might be. But I think anecdotally, we do talk about that. Like, why is MS high here? And we're really trying to look into that. What's the, kind of local impact? So I joined Kootenai Health in 2020, but before I was there was a 3-year gap and they did not have an MS specialist. And so people were having to travel to Seattle. I actually just had a patient established with me today that had been traveling to Oregon for many years. And so being able to provide local MS care really helps keep that care network close to home and really has a big impact both socially but also financially on our patients living within this area. So why does National MS Week matter? I think we've talked about this. So again, the recognition helps support families and caregivers, just recognize the importance of this condition, and then highlight the ongoing research and progress that we're making both locally and nationally. So thank you.
Oh, yeah, do you have any questions for Dr. Bozhinoff?
Thank you, Doctor. Well, you went over the area that it's prevalent.
Yep.
Which is a little frightening for Idahoans, and I think Eastern Washington was included.
Mm-hmm.
Any data that would give us an idea?
Yeah, so it's interesting. This is from one of my colleagues out of Stanford, and so he's doing more work into publishing on this area. So if you look at it, there seems to be some connection. Probably, so we know that there is some connection with distance from the equator related to probably vitamin D deficiency, and we certainly know that vitamin D deficiency is a big issue in our area as well. And then there's some link maybe to climate and temperature. So they're doing more epidemiological research to try to look into that, though. Yeah, but it's interesting. Again, we have 2 MS specialists for the whole state. There's 1 in Montana. There's none in Wyoming. So,
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, and I also want to thank Chief Greif for sharing his personal story. When leaders such as yourself step up and share something that's private, I think it gives others hope that there's other people dealing with this that have been managing it. And you do very well, Chief, so thank you.
Doctor, does that latitudinal distribution, is that the same in Europe too?
It does look similar in Europe, yes. Yep. Mm-hmm.
Any other questions for the doctor?
Thank you for coming.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Okay, we're going to move on to item F, which is public comments. And I can't see the sheet from here, but I have telepathy, so I'm going to say the first name is Wes Davis.
You're a genius. Good evening, Mr. Mayor, council members. I'm Wes Davis. I'm the general manager for Republic Services in Kootenai County here. So I have your solid waste contract. 16 months ago, Phil Damiano retired and sold his company to us. So I figured I was due for a little update for you guys to hear how we've been doing in the meantime, since it is such an important public service that we provide. These transitions are never easy, but I'm pretty pleased to report that we're doing quite well. Of the 40 original employees, I still have 38 of them working for me, so I have 95% of the same team. I also hired 2 more mechanics, hired a supervisor, hired a sales rep, and yet another driver as we continue to grow with the area. Got a new truck in recently as well, so we're keeping up with the demand for service. And what that really means for you guys is that you should continue to see the high quality service that you're used to in this area. I could talk about solid waste and recycle all day. I'm sure you guys don't need to hear me do that, but, this is one of those industries that I think is fundamental to what we do, and I want to just appreciate what the city has done for us so far to help us make our alleys and our community safer as well. So thank you for that. Last thing I'll leave you with is recycle, because it's the most common question I always get is what happens to my recycle after I set it out on the curb? So standing invitation for anybody that would ever like it. I will take you to our facilities and show you exactly what we do with it. But the short answer is we take it to my facility in Hayden, Idaho up here. We basically prepare it for shipping. We bale it and ship it off to Seattle where it does a final sort. And then that goes to the mill as feedstock. So yes, it's real. Yes, we're doing it. And if anybody ever needs to see that, I'm happy to facilitate. That's all I've really got for you guys tonight, but I'll stand for any questions or comments you have.
Okay, questions, Kenny?
Feedstock?
For the mill, they just think of it, it's an input.
Okay.
It's raw materials.
All right,
Yeah.
thank you.
Nobody's eating anything.
Okay, this is,
Dan?
Well, I would just say you have really nice trucks. They look sharp and painted and not a bunch of rust. You should think about the 4th of July parade, so.
I love that idea. I think we're planning on it this year.
Thank you, Wes, and my neighbors do appreciate it. Thank you.
Yes, thank you, guys.
All right, and up next, which I could also have guessed through telepathy, Suzanne Knudsen.
Good evening, Mayor and council members. My name is Suzanne Knudsen, and I'm here tonight in recognition of Disability Awareness Month and what that truly means in Coeur d'Alene. Disability Awareness Month is a reminder that 1 in 4, actually more than 1 in 4 Americans lives with a disability. In our own city, neighborhoods, churches, schools, and businesses, people with disabilities are contributing, working, volunteering, creating, and building community alongside all of us. Disability awareness is about moving beyond sympathy to understanding. It is about shifting from accommodation as an afterthought to inclusion as a priority. It is recognizing that accessibility benefits everyone, parents and grandparents pushing strollers at the park, veterans with injuries, seniors aging in place, children with developmental differences, and adults navigating visible and invisible disabilities in the workplace, on the bus, at events, and everywhere in our community. Here in Coeur d'Alene, we value community. We pride ourselves on being welcoming. Disability Awareness Month challenges us to take a good look at awareness and understanding for building community. True awareness means recognizing that disability is not a limitation of a person. It is often a limitation of environment, design, or opportunity. When we build inclusive spaces, we build a stronger city. When we ensure access to recreation, employment, transportation, and civic engagement, we are not offering charity, we are investing in human potential. Do we understand that when individuals of all abilities are given opportunities to participate in all aspects of our community, that confidence grows, friendships form, and isolation decreases? But this is not just the work of nonprofits. It is the work of our city as a whole. It is the work of our schools, local businesses, and policymakers, and it's the responsibility of all of us. Disability Awareness Month invites all of us to move from awareness to understanding to action and inclusion, to examine our attitudes through the lens of accessibility and individuality, to model inclusive language and behaviors, to challenge stereotypes through representation in media and community life, to encourage employers to recognize the talent within the disability community, and to ensure that civic life is open and accessible to every resident. When we prioritize inclusion, we send a powerful message: every person belongs here. A city is measured not only by its economic growth or development projects, but by how it treats its most vulnerable residents. When we design for those who face the greatest barriers, we create a city that works better for everyone. So thank you again for your support of the Specialized Needs Recreation Building Belonging Project. In Coeur d'Alene, Disability Awareness Month is a call to continue to build a community where differences are not hidden but valued, where accessibility is standard, and where belonging is intentional. Let us continue to grow as a city that does not merely comply with accessibility laws, but embraces inclusion as a part of our identity, because when everyone belongs, our community is stronger. Thank you.
Lovely. Thank you, Suzanne. Anyone else want to make public comment? Thank you. We will move on to the next item, G, which is announcements. Does any member of the city council have an announcement?
Yes.
Yes, Christie.
Thank you. I had a meeting this morning with CDA EDU. Our city administrator was also, he was on the line. It
And
was,
we're going to have to announce what acronyms we're talking about.
it's the old Jobs Plus.
Thank you.
It was early. It was by Zoom. Troy warned me of that, but here I am. It's a really great group. They're working really hard, focused on bringing high-paying jobs to our region. And I can't share with you any prospects that they're working on. I can just tell you they're working hard, and I enjoy it, and I was glad that Ron's part of that as well.
Very good. Any other announcements? Council, very good. I do have a couple of things here. First, I have an obituary notice. Please join us in extending our heartfelt condolences to the family of Phyllis Leuven, who faithfully served our community in the police department as a secretary, typist, clerk. Phyllis was hired on May 12th, 1969, and dedicated 26 years of service to the city before retiring in 1995. Throughout her tenure, she was known for her commitment and for her kindness and warm spirit. Those who had the privilege of working alongside her remember her fondly as a genuinely nice and caring person. We honor her years of dedicated service and extend our deepest sympathies to her family and loved ones during this difficult time. If you're watching us on TV, you can see her picture. You cannot see it here.
There she is, Philly.
We want to extend her family the best. Also, I have some appointments. These are to our Personnel Appeals Board, which I think has met once in the last century. So we will be appointing Benton Wolfinger, Vonnie Jensen, and Mike Gridley to the Personnel Appeals Board. I need approval from council.
So moved?
Second?
Motion and a second to confirm the appointments. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you. Motion carried. We'll move on to item H, the consent calendar.
Mr. Mayor, I'll make a motion to approve the consent calendar as presented, including resolution number 26-018.
Second.
Motion and a second. Any discussion on our consent calendar? Normally, we'd have it up there, but it's not, so. Okay. Monty will come to the rescue. There it is. That's what we're working on. All right.
Funny, did good without even doing something.
He's
didn't he?
magic. All right, so we're going to do no discussion. We'll do a roll call, please.
English.
Yes.
Wood.
Yes.
Evans.
Yes.
Gabriel.
Yes.
Motion carried. Moving on to item I-1, which is Resolution 26019, approval of change orders number 4 and 5 to the Solids Building Improvement Project, contract with Apollo Incorporated in the amount of $12,068.67 and $190,811.89 respectively. We have Mike Becker, our Capital Programs Manager from the Wastewater Treatment Plant. Mike.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. First and foremost, because it's real close to my heart, thank you for the proclamation of the MS Awareness Week. But the main reason why I'm here tonight is I'm here to ask Council's approval of change orders number 4 and 5 for the Solids Building Project. Just to recap, the Solids Building Project is the improvements we made on the south end of the treatment plant to enhance our dewatering capabilities for our sludge prior to composting. And as requested, the wastewater department is bringing change orders as they progressively evolve in this project. The fortunate thing is this project, which began in 2023, is slotted to be completed April 24th of 2026. So I thought I'd throw that out there. So the end of this project is real close. So what is change order number 4? Exhibit A in my staff report gives you the the justifications for these change orders. And change order number 4 includes removing and relocating some of the utilities over our overhead panels. This was done for safety reasons. We also were required to pull our centrifuge, and that required a crane. Change order number 4 amounted to $12,068.67. This was done last August. The reason why it did not come before council is I was waiting to get a few more change orders together to actually present it before council. We're almost near the finish line, so you get 2 of them tonight. Change order number 5 was for miscellaneous electrical. We had to fill in a wall. We also did some improvements to an existing panel on the ground level of our loading bay. That change order comes to a total of, well, we also applied a credit that we had, so the change order total is actually $190,811.89. Now, presently, there is no money in the project's expenditure fund because we were led to believe this project would be done before we entered into this fiscal year, so we did not budget anything. However, last year, we underspent by a little over $1 million, so there was still $1 million remaining. That's clearly enough to cover these change orders. I did speak with the finance department, and we can simply do a budget amendment, which we have to do sometimes anyways on these prolonged projects. So based on that information, it is the wastewater department's recommendation that council approved change order number 5 and number 4 in the amounts in my staff report. If you have any questions, feel free to
I lost it at the
ask
end
away
there,
and I'll
right?
answer.
Good.
Sorry, I can't even read my own writing tonight.
It's okay. They're very unusual numbers. Any questions from council on this? Very good. Well, thank you. And then we'll go ahead and take a motion if there's no questions.
Mr. Mayor, I would make a motion to approve resolution number 26019, approving change orders number 4 and number 5 to the Solids Building Improvements Project contract with Apollo Incorporated in the amount of $12,068.67 and $190,811.89 respectively.
Second.
Very good. Any discussions on this motion? We'll do a roll call, please.
English,
Yes.
Wood,
Yes.
Evans,
Yes.
Gabriel.
Yes.
Motion carried. Thank you, Mike. And next up, we have our item number I-2, which is Resolution 26020, creation of a 15-minute parking restriction at 108 Indiana Avenue. And this is something that I don't think has come to council in, ever. Have we ever done this?
I was going to say, well, thank you, Mayor and Council, first of all.
Chris
but,
Mosley from the Streets and Engineering Department.
Yes. Until a couple months ago, we had a parking commission. So whenever one of these requests would come forward, we would send them to the parking commission before it would come on to city council. Since we didn't have one, I asked, how do we handle this? So here I am. So at 108 Indiana Avenue, it is the first street, by the way, north of downtown. Oh, we don't have a picture for all of you to see.
We have it up here, Chris. but
Okay.
not for everybody
Doesn't help.
else.
Mike, if
Maybe Mike can, there we go.
Thank you. Okay,
there we go.
but no, thank you.
Almost.
Thank you. We're good.
So outlined in red is the address in question here. This is Indiana Avenue, and it is the first street north going out of downtown that doesn't have 2-hour parking restrictions on it.
The first East-West Street?
First East-West Street, yes.
Okay.
This is what the street looks like during the daytime. In that building right there off to the right, with the red roof on it. It used to be a daycare. It is now Beatific, which is a behavioral health service company. Their clients who have mental and physical disabilities are dropped off at the front door, and they with all the parking there, they can't pull up right to the front door. So they requested to have a 15-minute parking space out front so that the bus could pull up right to the curb and allow these clients to get to the building. Apparently, some of them are also, I think they said elopers, which means they tend to run, so they need to be close to the door so that they can bring them in. But if you have any questions about it, Nikki Burton is here from Beatific to answer any questions, if you have any. But our plan here was to just meet with them upon your approval and define what area. It's only going to take a couple spaces there to put in a big enough area for a bus drop-off zone. And with that, I would stand for any questions.
So, Chris, why can't this just be like a loading, unloading zone? I mean, assuming people are loaded and unloaded.
It could.
Okay, but why can't it be? I mean, why is it 15 minutes and not just a yellow curb, loading, unloading?
Well, we would sign it because we don't like to paint curbs. We have a policy against painting curbs, especially because winter, they're usually, well, except for this winter, they're usually under a snowbank, so we don't like to paint curbs, and it's a maintenance issue. But the signing could be anything. We just wanted to prohibit people from parking all day there was the
Okay.
goal. So if you have a different suggestion for what that sign should be,
That would be up to
but
council.
anything with a time restriction on the parking has to be approved by council and put into code.
Interesting. Okay. Any questions for Chris on this? Christie.
Mr. Mayor, it sounds like a legitimate safety concern, so I'm prepared to make a motion.
Yeah, Randy has a question.
I just have point out that the loading zone in our code is up to 30 minutes.
Oh,
If they want a 15-minute zone, it would be signed as 15 minutes rather than a loading zone.
interesting. That's good to know. Any other questions?
Well, I'll just go with the motion unless there's a preference between the loading and the, no, okay.
Please go ahead.
All right, let me find it. Mr. Mayor, I'd make a motion to approve resolution number 26020, approving the creation of 15-minute parking restriction at 108 East Indiana Avenue.
Second.
Great. Motion and a second. Any discussion on the motion? Very good. Take a roll call, please.
Wood,
Yes.
Evans,
Yes.
Gabriel,
Yes.
English.
Yes.
Motion carried. Thank you, Chris.
Thank you.
And thank you. Hope that helps. We're moving on to item I3, which is resolution number 26021, accepting a bid of and approving a contract with Badger Meter Incorporated for the purchase of new water meters, registers, and endpoints in the amount of $299,456 from the water director, from the water department, we have Glenn Polstra, Assistant Water Director.
Good
Glenn.
evening, Mayor, Council.
Thank you.
Thanks for having me this evening. As you said, I'm here to present and recommend the approval of an agreement with Badger Meter for the purchase of new water meter registers and endpoints. The registers and endpoints are key components of our water meters that allow us to get a manual read and which are connected to a radio or cellular unit that broadcasts the signal so we can obtain readings with our meter reading software as we drive by. These are components, the basis of replacing these components are part of a meter changeout program that was created back in 2005 due to significant undocumented water loss through our water meters. So each year, our goal is to replace up to 1,500 to 2,000 water meters each year, inevitably replacing all the water meters in the city every 10 years. So, and this is a photo of the actual boundaries that are created, that we have certain numbers of water meters that we can pick throughout the city that would equal that 1,500 to 2,000 water meters that we would change out each year. Some boundaries are larger than others, so sometimes we're doing one boundary versus two or three. So the program consists of removing the old water meters, stripping them down, as you can see in these photos, that we're pulling them off the meter bodies. We're getting them set up to go in our sand blaster. We clean them up, And then we actually put them through a state-of-the-art meter test bench. The reason we have this test bench is that we can reuse some of the components of those water meters and actually recertify them to put them in the ground. And that's where these registers and endpoints come in, is those are the replacement parts mainly that have battery life to them. And it's recommended that they be replaced about every 10 years, otherwise we start seeing significant failures. So with this meter test bench, we can recertify them as a factory standard. This is a type of test bench that they would see at Badger Meter. And we can put these back in the ground with almost 100% accuracy. So there is always a variance depending on the percentage, but we are very confident that this meter test bench does a quality job in making sure that we have a good component going back in the ground. And we are actually set up right now, the meters that we pulled out from the last boundary and put in through our test bench, we're looking at a 94% passing rate on those old meters that come out of the ground. So we can actually reuse those meter bodies, which you see the brass body. Where's my mouse? Right there. So this is the chamber that's inside there. This is the measuring component that we're testing, along with this meter body, and the register you see here and the endpoint are the replacement parts that have the batteries within them. These are completed after they're tested, rebuilt, register installed, and then we would plan to put those out in the field throughout those boundaries with our employees in the water department. As you can see, sometimes we have a little bit less snow in some years, so we get out there earlier or have to work late into the fall to complete that work. Pursuant to the city's purchasing policies, we went out for a sealed bid process with the dollar amount that we estimated. And the only bid that was returned was from Badger Meter in the amount of $299,456. The budget for the 25-26 fiscal year was set at $350,000, which we were well under with that number. And as mentioned, 1,500 to 2,000 meters are changed each year, and through a 10-year cycle, we can replace those meters and update and make sure that we have the most accurate billing records for our customers as the revenue streams that come in to replace these type of components. With that, I would recommend that the council approve the purchasing agreement with Badger Meter for the new water meter registers and endpoints in the amount of $299,456. And I would stand for questions.
Thank you, Glenn. Any questions?
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to make a motion.
You are a chatty bunch.
We are.
I'd like to make a motion to adopt resolution number 26-021, accepting the bid of and approving a contract with Badger Meter, Inc. for the purchase of new water meters, registers, and endpoints in the amount of $299,456.
Second.
Motion and a second. Any discussion on the motion? Good. Clerk will take the roll.
Evans?
Yes.
Gabriel?
Yes.
English?
Yes.
Wood?
Yes.
Motion carries. Item J starts our public hearings. There are sign-up sheets available if you want to testify. This is also, thank you. You can, I believe you can testify online. Are we still doing that? Oh, prior to 3 p.m. today. Did anyone sign up online? Are we aware of? No one signed up online. Thank you. This is a quasi-judicial hearing, A-126, request for annexation by Aspen Homes and Development, LLC, for a 1.937-acre parcel from County Ag Suburban to City R3 residential at 3 units per acre, located at 2739 East Thomas Lane, Coeur d'Alene, Idaho, 83815. Stuff I have to read. Please note that the term deliberation in the Idaho Open Meetings Law indicates the receipt or exchange of information in any form, including emails, telephone calls, and in-person conversations. In addition, when council sits in a quasi-judicial capacity, its decision can only be based on information presented at the hearing. Therefore, I ask if any council member has received or exchanged information related to this annexation request that is not included in the council packet. Please disclose that information now so that the applicant and the public have full knowledge of the information you possess. Does any council member have anything to disclose? So I am seeing none. So we have a staff report by Barbara Barker, our associate planner. This is Barbara's first time up in front of the city council with an annexation. Everyone be gentle with her.
Thank you, Mayor. Good evening, Mayor and council members. You do have before you today an annexation A1-26 for 1.937 acres with City R3 zoning.
Oh, yeah.
The engineer is Olson Engineering, the applicant is
Barbara, can you speak up
Aspen-
just a little bit?
Sorry.
Thank you.
And the consultant is Olson Engineering, the applicant is Aspen Homes. As mentioned, the location is 2739 North Thomas Lane in Coeur d'Alene. All legal notices were sent out as required. The decision point: should the City Council approve the requested annexation of 1.937 acres with City R3 zoning, residential 3 units per acre. A little background information before we get started to the findings. The applicant did provide us with a annexation map that you can see on the right, as well as a narrative. And this is just a generic quip that I took from the narrative. We believe the property is fitting for this location. Some more background here. The property is contiguous with the Coeur d'Alene city limits, and it's also within the area of impact for the city of Coeur d'Alene. The subject property is currently located in County AG suburban zone. The current size of the property is 1.937, and it is considered a conforming lot per Kootenai County Land Use and Development Code. The applicant has proposed city's R3 zoning. The existing adjacent properties within the city are also R3, as you can see, adjacent. The density allowed for this zone is 3 units per acre, and the proposed density, as you can see, is 2.86. This lower density zone requires a minimum lot size of 11,500 square feet and 75 feet of frontage. The R3 permits in residential usage is single-family housing only, and ADUs are a permitted accessory use. The lot sizes for this particular subdivision is going to turn out, you could only have one single family as well as an ADU. As you can see here in the photo, this is a photo of adjacent property. Adjacent neighborhoods are similar to what is being proposed. The adjacent areas west and south were annexed in 1999 and 1999 and 1991 respectively. This is what it looked like before. It was an active salvage yard. What is proposed, you can see overlaid, is 4 residential lots on a dead-end private driveway, and they are requesting to be connected to city water and sewer. Due to that previous use, there is some soil condition questions, and what is being done with that is we've reviewed it. We're going to look at that a little bit later in the staff report, but the building department has requested it'll be conditioned for any building permits, and also DEQ was contacted for their recommendations, and again, we'll talk a little bit more about that later. This has gone before Planning and Zoning Commission, and they did adopt an R3 zoning on January 13th, 2016. They also approved a subdivision called Mountainside at Canfield, and this was approved at that same meeting. If you're following along in the staff report, we're jumping to the findings on page 11. All right, there are 4 required findings for annexation. Finding B1, does the proposal conform to the comprehensive plan? Finding B2, are there public facilities and utilities available? Finding B3, looking for the suitability of the physical characteristics of the site. And finding B4, does the proposal adversely affect surrounding neighborhoods in regard to traffic, neighborhood character, and existing land use? We're going to cover these one by one. Finding B1. So looking at that, how is this conforming to the city's comprehensive plan? We're going to look at 3 different areas: place type, transportation, goals, and objectives. From the comprehensive plan regarding place types, you can see the definition there. This represents the form of future development as envisioned by the residents of Coeur d'Alene. This place type has been categorized as single-family neighborhood. The surrounding area is also single-family neighborhood, which indicates that the Coeur d'Alene residents envision this property and the surrounding area's residential development to be single-family. Definition of single-family neighborhoods: lower density, single-family homes, and you can see there that R3 is one of those recommended compatible zonings. In In terms of the comp plan and transportation for availability, you can see here on the left, in terms of bicycles, there is a planned multi-use pathway right adjacent to the site. There is adjacent walking network. The only thing that's not being provided here is a transit network, again, just because it's on the eastern edge of the city. Policy framework, out of the comp plan. These following that you see listed here, this is a curated list that staff has selected, and you're certainly welcome to add more. Those are shown as attachment 2. Goal C11, Coeur d'Alene citizens are well-informed, fostering broad-based and inclusive community involvement, and promote community unity and involvement. Under growth and development, GD11, develop mixed uses of land uses that balance housing and employment while preserving the qualities that make Coeur d'Alene a great place to live. And you can see under GD2, ensure appropriate, high-quality infrastructure to accommodate community needs and future growth. Reiterated there under 2.1. And health and safety, continue to provide exceptional police, fire, emergency services, and enhance cooperation to provide fast, reliable service. So before you, council members, for B1 evaluation, does City Council need to determine, based on the information before them, whether the comprehensive plan does or does not support the request? All right. Finding B2, that public facilities and utilities are or are not available or inadequate for the proposed use. We're going to be relying on the staff reports that you can see on pages 17 and 18 in the staff report. And what you'll find there is, in general, staff comments did indicate that public facilities and utilities are adequate. So for the B2 evaluation, the council will need to determine, based on the information before you, whether or not public facilities and utilities are adequate for this request. Finding B3, that the physical characteristics of the site do or do not make it suitable for the request at this time. We're going to look at 3 items there: the existing site, adjacent properties, and environmental site assessment. So just a few photos of the site. The first one, the site is vacant, recently cleared, and generally graded. It is relatively flat, although you can see up to the west towards the adjacent properties, there is a different elevation. And then here you're going to see the existing swale, curb, and sidewalks that would be extended to the property. Finally, this is a photo of the existing site, and you can see the concern with the environmental equality because of the soil conditions. So there were 3 things that happened there. There was a phase 1 environmental site assessment that was done by a third party. You can see that summary in attachment 3. There was further assessment by the same contractor, and that second assessment also did not find any issues to be concerned with. That email is included as attachment 4. No concerns were noted, but they did recommend that professional oversight be provided with future soil disturbance. We also consulted the Department of Environmental Quality. You can see that as attachment 5 in the report, and their recommendation concurred with the geotech recommendation for professional oversight. So what you're going to see later when we look at the conditions, staff did add 2 conditions regarding soil quality. One is for independent soil reports to be included with every building permit application, and also requiring the owner to have ongoing coordination with the DEQ regarding any future soil disturbance. You'll see those as condition 13 and 14 in the report. All right, finding B3. Question again, based on the existing site conditions that you've seen and the environmental site assessment that's been done, the City Council will need to determine, based on this information before them, whether or not the physical characteristics of the site made it suitable for this request. Finding B4, that the proposal would or would not adversely affect the surrounding neighborhood with regard to traffic, neighborhood character, and the existing land uses. We're going to be looking at each one of those individually. First off, is submitted by Chris Bosley, our city engineer. The subject property is bordered by Thomas Lane, local residential street. Traffic is proposed to be estimated to approximately 38 daily trips to Thomas Lane, minor increase over the 2,300 trips. So he has no objection to the annexation as proposed. In terms of neighborhood character, the subject property is situated adjacent to the city's land use SFD for single-family dwellings. And you can see here just an aerial photo. All the properties around them have that same low-density, single-family residential development on larger lots. Directly west to the properties, you can see an overlay. This is what is being proposed, and you can see the size of the lots compared to what's adjacent to the west. There's also another subdivision south of this, which is known as Foothills. All of these are all R3. When the development took place for these other major subdivisions, single-family developments with R3 zoning was approved. To the east, you can see in Kootenai County, there's a single residence. All of these are larger parcels with private wells, septic systems, and limited infrastructure. Regarding land use, the proposed subdivision is coming up at lot sizes of 0.35 acres, and you can see the western parcels vary from 0.26 to 0.48, the southern parcels 0.29 to 0.58. So again, it's just sort of showing that there's some continuity there. All right, finding B4. Looking at the traffic, neighborhood character, and the existing land use, the council will need to determine, based on the information before them, whether or not the proposal would adversely affect the surrounding neighborhood with regard to traffic, neighborhood character, and/or existing land uses. And to finish off, we did come up with 14, staff provided 14 recommendations for this annexation as well as the subdivision, and we'll go through those. Engineering suggests a dedicated sidewalk easement along Thomas Lane on the final plot, and also providing the taper transition where it moves into county property to the east. Planning is requiring that 75-foot frontage that's required for R3 is going to be required up against the private driveway, and also requiring the 75-foot minimum frontage, and then including the utility easement within the private driveway tract. Water is, again, just providing that showing that we can provide the utilities that are required. They're requiring the 8-inch water main line be required to extend it through the property to the northern property line, and then a permanent flushing station be required, because it has a dead end there. Wastewater is requiring a 30-foot shared utility easement for water and sewer, and the project will require an extension for the to and through to the north. Urban forestry is requiring street trees along Thomas Lane, and then Monty's got a list here of what's required or suggested for those locations. Fire, typical statement from them that all of fire will be reviewed at time of building application. And then the building department, again, as we talked about, due to the previous usage, they are going to be requiring an independent soil report on every single building application. And then also the requirement that they continue to coordinate with DEQ with any of their recommendations. So the decision point before the council tonight, again, the annexation of 1.937 acres with city R3 zoning. And I will note that we do have an annexation agreement that we'll be looking at in a few moments. So the alternates before you, determine one of the following: to approve with and without conditions, deny, or deny without prejudice. And I stand for questions.
Good job, Barbara.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Any questions for Barbara?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, Councilmember Wood.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Thank you, Barbara. Good presentation. Throughout the packet, numerous times, there's mention of the soil and that the soil was tested, and we know what was there before.
Right.
And I think there's probably a lot of people, I know I did, kind of thought what was there before was a bit of an eyesore.
Yes.
So this is definitely an improvement. But since it's mentioned so many times about the earthwork and continue to observe future earthwork, can you tell me specifically what that means for the city? How would we do that?
Well, we've covered that in the conditions. So the way that we can control it is we can make sure, there's already been 2 phases, and maybe more, the applicant can bring that up, in terms of their own soil testing. And any time that these 1 of 4 lots come in for building permits, we're going to be requiring independent testing for those as well. And then DEQ has suggested, as has their third-party consultant, that whenever there's future soil conditions and disturbance, they're going to have a professional on site to actually oversee that and bring up any. So we've tried to cover our bases. I mean, we were concerned with it. The neighbors have brought up their concern. The owner has been concerned. And so that's why we wanted to cover it thoroughly, just so that you know we've done our due diligence, I think.
Yeah. Thank you for that.
Yeah.
Any other questions for Barbara? Yes, Ken?
Barbara, one of my concerns that I read through this is the dead-end driveway. I know we do our best to not have dead ends, and this is one where fire trucks get to back up instead of drive forward, which we don't like doing very much.
Well, we don't have that as part of this in terms of the annexations, but in the subdivision that was covered well in terms of the fire and police serving this area. So we've required them to do a fire turnaround.
Perfect, thank you.
Okay, any other questions for Barbara? So we'll be opening the public hearing now. And there's a sign-up sheet. If you fail to sign up, I can still call you up. But we will start with...
Mr. Mayor, I think the applicant gets to go next.
Yeah, he's on the hearing thing. So, yes, so the first sign-up in the hearing is Jeremy Pizzuli, and I assume this is Jeremy. Jeremy, you need to be...
Excellent assumption.
Yes, you need to be sworn in, and then you can give your presentation.
Certainly.
Jeremy, please raise your right hand and respond by saying, "I affirm." Do you solemnly swear nor affirm that the testimony you're about to give is the whole truth and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
That I do. Again, Jeremy Terzulli, I'm a land use consultant here in North Idaho, collaborating with Olson Engineering tonight on behalf of Aspen Homes. And just as an anecdote, I walked in here this evening and saw Mayor Jacobson and had a quick little panic attack that I was in the wrong public hearing. So, Ron, it's a little strange seeing you over there on that side, but I'll get used to it. So I'll be pretty brief here because I thought the staff report covered everything pretty well. And hang on just a second. How do I advance?
Just click the left of the mouse.
The left mouse, okay. So starting off with the zoning request, I'm going to go real quick on this because I believe that between the staff report, the thorough discussion that was had at planning and zoning, the surrounding areas, I think that the R3 zoning is the appropriate request if you guys choose to annex this property this evening. As Barbara pointed out, it's surrounded by R3. I also brought some of the county parcels that are actually smaller than that 5 acre that we see elsewhere in the county. So you see an awful lot of residences along Thomas Lane that are, under 3/4 of an acre that are still in the county. I think it's reasonable to assume that additional annexations will come forth in this area over the next 5 to 10 years, and that R3 zoning will create good cohesive and consistency in this area. So regarding the annexation request, so the annexation is a legislative process. We understand that the zoning is more quasi-judicial, so that legislative process does give the council a bit more discretion. In essence, is this in the best interest of the city at this time to annex this property? But state statute does offer some direction to cities when working through annexations, and the first one is that procedural requirements have been met. That staff did point out that all of the noticing was done, posting on the property was done, the mailers, posting into the newspapers, all of the procedural requirements have been met. Additionally, state statute does point to the city and orderly development. Does this proposal represent orderly development? And as the staff report with the zoning request pointed out, the R3 zoning designation here would be the appropriate zoning. It is contiguous with city limits, so we do believe that this represents orderly development. The state does also point towards private property rights, and so in essence, out of if the city decides that this does represent orderly growth, if infrastructure is available, if the annexation creates logical urban boundaries, then property owners adjacent to city limits should be able to come to the city and request the benefit of those municipal services to develop their property in accordance and cohesive with the surrounding area. Additionally, looking to the comprehensive plan,
So the staff report was thorough here as well, that the comprehensive plan points out that it is in the area of city impact. The future land use map does talk about single-family residential, low-density development in this area. The comp plan also does point to a diversity of housing, maximizing existing public infrastructure. So we believe this request is supported throughout the comprehensive plan. And then one goal I wanted to point out was that goal C1. And this, I toyed with the idea of whether or not I was even going to bring this up, but at Planning and Zoning, there was a public comment from Mrs. Darian, and I was able to talk with her after the public hearing, and, you know, she brought up some good questions, some good points that I thought were worth bringing up tonight. And she indicated to me that, well, the property had already been posted for the second hearing, and the developer had already started clearing the land, so in her mind, this was a done deal. And the way she brought it up, I thought about it, and I thought about it on my drive home. So I do this all the time. This is what I do. I've been doing this for over a decade, and you guys see many of these public hearings. And with regard to an informed public, in her mind, and she says it in her letter, why would somebody spend that kind of money clearing the property if they didn't already have their approval? And again, because I'm in this world, I was just like, well, no, that's not how this works. We have to go through this process. What she doesn't know and what the general public doesn't tend to know is before this request ever makes it to this point, this project started close to a year ago. Somebody identifies a piece of property. They'll come reach out to Olson Engineering, or they'll reach out directly to me. We will then meet with city in a pre-development hearing. City staff and the representatives will go through all of the code, the comprehensive plan, the guiding documents, the master transportation plan. We go through it with a fine-tooth comb, and if staff doesn't feel it's a good fit, we really never get to this point. So what the general public doesn't always understand is we've done a thorough analysis of this property. We've been on this property for months. We're bringing forth what we think is a project that can and should be approved. Like, we believe in the project. And so we offer our recommendation. Hey, should I start clearing the property? How should we do this? We also have a plan B that if the annexation were to be denied, we could appeal it. And also, the property owner could build a home or two on there in Kootenai County and kind of recoup their cost. Like I said, in the moment, I was a little taken aback, but as I thought about it, the general public isn't here at all these meetings. The general public isn't in those meetings that I have with the city. The general public doesn't do what I do and understand that we make our best guess that this is a good proposal and we think that it'll probably get approved because of its merit. Not because any backroom deal was made or there's some secret handshake, because if there is, I never learned that handshake. So I just wanted to bring that up with regard to goal one, and it might help people here tonight to know we've been on this project for nearly a year before we get to this point. So just thought that was worth noting. Benefits to the city, to increase the tax base, to maximize infrastructure that's already in the ground, an extension of that infrastructure, to collect impact fees on a property that has been using city services for a very long time. There's only one way to get to this property, and you have to navigate city streets to get to this property. And now you'll be able to start recouping some of the impact that this scrapyard has had on city streets. The developer's going to put in all the infrastructure on his dime, and the city can also direct development through zoning development agreements. It's going to create that diversity of housing stock. These will be larger homes on larger lots. And like I said, we feel that this is in the best interest of the city to annex at this time. And we respectfully request approval, and I'll stand for any questions.
Any questions for Jeremy? No questions. We'll let you come back, do a wrap-up.
Thank you.
I do have on the sign-up sheet, I have two people. I have Debbie Darren, who is neutral, but did not specify whether you wanted to testify. Is Debbie here, and does she want to testify? She does not. I also have, and apologize if I don't get this name right, is it Sandra Robertson? Who has signed up, I guess. Says neutral, but has not specified whether they want to testify. Okay, so neither people who signed up want to testify. That's good. Jeremy, did you want to come back and add anything? Because no one said anything. So he's good. Okay, so given that, I will close the public hearing and wait for council to take action.
Mr. Mayor?
Yes.
Just under discussion, I think in looking at the whole package, there's been quite a few points that this does line up with our comp plan, and Jeremy's right, these things have to be done on merit, and this appears to have met the merit. So R3 seems to be the right fit. As I said earlier, it certainly is an improvement with what was there before, and so I would find myself supporting this project.
Excellent. Any other comments? Okay, we'll do a motion first, and then we do the findings.
Mr. Mayor, I'll make a motion to approve without prejudice the annexation by Aspen Homes and Development LLC for a 1.937 acre parcel from the county ag suburban to city R3, located at 2739 East Thomas Lane, pursuant to the following findings and order.
Second. I don't do that yet, sorry.
Okay, we can do it now, but that's good. You may proceed.
This matter came before the City Council on March 3rd, 2026 to consider A126, a request for zoning in conjunction with the annexation of a 1.937 acre annexation from County Ag Suburban to City R3. The owner applicant is Aspen Homes and Development LLC. The location is 2739 East Thomas Lane, Coeur d'Alene, Idaho 83815. Findings of fact, the City Council finds that the following facts, A1 through A11, have been established on a more probable than not basis, as shown on the record before it and on the testimony presented at the public hearing. I don't need to read them all individually, do I?
If you're adopting it,
There is no disputed facts, there were no contrary testimony, so you can adopt the suggested findings.
Based on the foregoing findings of fact, the City Council makes the following conclusions of law. B1, that this proposal is in conformance with the comprehensive plan policy. B2, that public facilities and utilities are available and adequate for the proposed use. B3, that the physical characteristics of the site do make it suitable for the request at this time. B4, that the proposal would not adversely affect the surrounding neighborhood with regard to traffic, neighborhood character, or existing land uses. The City Council, pursuant to the foregoing findings of fact and conclusions of law, approves the requested R3 zoning in conjunction with annexation with the following conditions to include in the annexation agreement.
And you can just note that the 14 that are in the findings are what you adopt, if that's what you would.
Please note that conditions 1 through 14 we wish to adopt. These include findings in engineering, planning, water, wastewater, urban forestry, fire, and building. With that, I'll make the motion again to approve. Sorry, guys. To make the motion to approve the requested R3 zoning in conjunction with annexation.
I will second it again.
Very good. Motion and a second. Any discussion on the motion or the agreement, the findings? None. Please take the roll.
Gabriel?
Yes.
English?
Yes.
Wood?
Yes.
Evans?
Yes.
Motion carried. Now, sub-item A is Council Bill Number 261005, an ordinance approving the annexation requested by Aspen Homes and Development LLC for a 1.937 acre parcel located at 2739 East Thomas Lane and zoning said parcel R3.
I'll make a motion to dispense with the rule and read Council Bill Number 26-1005 once by title only.
Second?
Motion a second. Any discussion? All right, roll call, please.
Gabriel,
Yes.
English,
Yes.
Wood,
Yes.
Evans.
Yes.
The clerk will read the title.
Council Bill Number 261005, an ordinance annexing to and declaring to be part of the City of Coeur d'Alene, Kootenai County, Idaho, Lot 2, Block 1, Half Height Ridge in the northeast quarter of Section 6, Township 50 North, Range 4 West, Boise Meridian, commonly known as 2739 E. Thomas Lane, Coeur d'Alene, Idaho, zoning such specifically described property hereby annex R3, repealing our ordinances and parts of ordinances in conflict herewith, providing a severability clause, providing for the publication of a summary of this ordinance and an effective date hereof.
Very good. We'll do a motion to adopt the bill now.
I'll make a motion to adopt Council Bill 25-1005.
Second?
Motion a second. Any discussion on the motion? Very good. Take the roll, please.
Gabriel,
Yes.
English,
Yes.
Wood,
Yes.
Evans.
Yes.
Motion has carried. We have Resolution Number 26022, which is approval of an annexation agreement with Aspen Homes and Development LLC for a 1.937 acre parcel located at 2739 East Thomas Lane. Is there any discussion on this? No presentation, nothing? We've all read it, of course. Very good.
I'll make a motion to adopt Resolution Number 26-022, approving an annexation agreement with Aspen Homes and Development LLC for a 1.937 acre parcel located at 2739 East Thomas Lane.
Second?
Motion and a second. Any discussion? Very good. Clerk will take the roll.
English,
Yes.
Wood,
Yes.
Evans.
Yes.
Gabriel.
Yes.
Very good. Motion is carried. Now we have item 2, which is quasi-judicial, and this is our second hearing for the evening. It is an exchange, let me cheat, exchange of a half-acre parcel owned by the city, which is a portion of Tax 24207 and located behind 3700 West Celtice Way and along the future Atlas Trail connection for improvements to city-owned real property to be completed and paid for by Glacier 3700 Celtice LLC, the parcel and improvements being equal in value to $85,000. And before we get started, I would ask if any council member has received or exchanged information related to this land exchange that is not included in the council packet. Please disclose this information now so the applicant and public can have full knowledge of the information you possess. And I'm getting no communication from the council, so we may proceed with a staff report by Monty McCulley, who's our Trails Coordinator, and by Hillary Patterson, which may or may not stand up there, our Community Planning Director. Monty, please.
Well, good evening. This will be my last trail coordinator presentation to you. For after this, it'll be urban forester. So I'll go ahead, I know you've seen this before, but I'll go ahead and read through the staff report anyway for the public. So the decision point is should council exchange a half-acre parcel owned by the city, which is a portion of Tax 24207, located behind 3700 West Celtice Way, along the future Atlas Trail connection for improvements to city-owned real property of equal value. So a little history. In 2014, the City of Coeur d'Alene purchased 20 acres of real property within a 2-mile stretch of the former BNSF railroad right-of-way for a price of $2.5 million. The former railroad right-of-way to the east, which was also purchased in 2014, is currently being developed along with the Atlas Trail extension as part of the River's Edge Apartments and Atlas Waterfront projects. A section of the former BNSF railroad right-of-way that is completed for the exchange is south of 3700 West Celtice Way and is operated by Heritage Health and owned by Parkwood Properties. This parcel has an irregular shape due to the railroad lines and is triangular in shape and is not used for any city purpose. On February 3rd, 2026, council declared its intention to exchange this half-acre parcel for 1, a double trail section, 2, light poles and fixtures to enhance security along the trail, 3, a bike repair station, 4, widening concrete areas for future public benefits such as public art or public exercise equipment, 5, perpetual maintenance of the dryland grass seed xeriscaped shoulders of the trail, and 6, a permanent solar lighting for the city skate park, all to be provided by Parkwood Properties without charge to the city. Also on February 3rd, council declared the value of the parcel to be $85,000. The value of the real property improvements to be provided by Parkwood Properties was determined by council to be $85,000. So the financial analysis, Parkwood Properties is interested in acquiring the subject property in exchange for improvements to real property owned by the city, as shown on the attached exhibits. The cost of the improvements is equal to the estimated current value of the property to be exchanged. The Parks and Recreation Department has indicated that the city does not have a need for additional land next to the Atlas Trail connection, and exchanging the property would reduce city staff costs related to landscaping and ongoing operations and maintenance and result in trail enhancement for the public. So, here's the Idaho Code section. Idaho Code 50-1503-1 provides for the exchange of the property for real property of equal value if it is deemed to be in the best interests of the city. The term real property is not defined in Title 50, Chapter 14, Idaho Code. However, the term is defined in IC 55-101 as follows. Real property or real estate consists of 1. Lands, possessory rights to land, ditch, water rights, mining claims, both load and placer. 2. That which is affixed to land. 3. That which is opportunate to land. An opportunitant is a legal term that means belonging to, accessory, or incident to, adjunct, appended, or annexed to. Black Laws Dictionary, 5th edition, 1979. The Black's definition goes on to say, a thing is deemed to be incidental or opportunitant to land when it is by right used with the land for its benefit, as in the case of a way, a watercourse, or of passage for light, air, or heat from or across the land of another. So Parkwood's property offered of improvements to city real property would be considered real property, subject to exchange for city real property, and is in the best interests of the city. So the decision point is council should exchange subject half acre of city-owned property for improvements to city-owned real property as outlined in the attachments. And I do have Chris from Parkwood Properties here to go through the project for you.
Let's start out with any questions for Monty. Anyone have any questions for Monty? Yes, Christie.
Thank you. Monty, I'm aware of the Parks Department strategic plan, and I don't recall in the plan that we were ever going to do a pocket park here. We were going to put resources on that piece of land. Can you verify that?
That is correct. We have Atlas Park to the east, and we have Mill River Park to the west that will actually be expanding that in the next few years to triple its size. And so the distance from Atlas Park to this pocket park was a block and a half. So it's really close, and there's not really any access other than by driving on the trail to get to that property. So
the financial resources coming from us, that has not been part of the plan to do what Parkwood is proposing to do.
that is correct.
Okay, so we would just kind of leave it in its natural state.
Well, we would require a developer to put a trail in, whatever the developer might be. Parkwood is just going above and beyond by putting a lot more, a nicer trail system, one that's maintained and cared for, that will have, it won't just be weeds and rocks next to the trail.
Right, if Parkwood takes this.
Yes.
But if it were left with us,
Yeah,
it's
if
going to
left
have
to
the
us,
rocks
yeah.
and the weeds.
Yeah.
Okay,
Mhm.
all right. I just want to confirm the strategic plan because, the question has come up, well, couldn't the city just put a pocket park there? But when we look at our resources and it's mapped out for the next, is it 10 years? Of where we need to put parks in the city, that's not one of the locations for us.
That's correct, yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions for Monty? Okay, well, I will open the public hearing with the applicant. Mr. Meyer, please come forward and be sworn in. I need the sheet. No one signed up? Okay.
Please raise your right hand and respond by saying affirm. Do you solemnly swear nor affirm that the testimony you are about to give is the whole truth and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I affirm. Great. Thank you. Good evening, Mayor and Council. Thanks for the opportunity to come back and discuss this project with you again. Thank you, Monty, and the staff team for working with us on this project. It's been a long road in this process. I'm going to roll back for just 2 slides, I think, to the original parcel here. This building was first developed in 2004 by the U.S. Bank Company as a call center for our community. It was a large employment driver for many, many years. After COVID, the call center use became a little obsolete as folks began to do that kind of work from home. So the fortunate part is we have in excess of 400 call center jobs to remain in our community, yet this piece of real estate became surplus to U.S. Bank. It was put on the market, and we were interested in acquiring it in partnership with Heritage Health. They have approached us to partner with Parkwood to redevelop the call center into a multidisciplinary center for healthy living, which achieves their community health mission to provide a single location to allow the community to gather and address a whole wide range of medical needs that right now the community needs to visit 8 different locations scattered throughout our community to access those kinds of community health care services, including mental health, addiction counseling. We're just about to start on the second portion of this, which is going to be a medical dental clinic, including some healthy living lifestyle amenities about fitness, about exercise, about diet. So Parkwood is extremely elated to be partnering with Heritage on this project, and the reason why I'm here before you tonight is we're about to start our second phase of this development, which means we need to complete our frontage improvements per city codes and our agreements with the council and the staff. Fortunately, we've been able to postpone this frontage improvements until this second phase of a 2-phase development. It's been 3 years in the making now. We have a long history with Heritage Health. It's a great organization in our community, meets the needs of a number of the less fortunate citizens in our community that might struggle economically to access the care they need to live their best lives. So Heritage started as a free clinic with Lidman Durney's leadership back in the 1980s. Parkwood donated space in the lower level of one of our buildings to get them stood up because it was a community cause that we believed in. Fortunately, over the last 30 years, we continue to partner with them through various different clinic relationships, and this is a great chance for them to really take a whole bunch of good programs they're doing and bring it all together. That's a little background information as to the idea that sort of percolated with our design team and in early conversations with city staff about what could we do with this opportunity where our obligation is to complete a standard city trail profile of 15 feet and connect the Atlas Trail, which is now missing a few teeth in this section between Johnson Mill River Park to the west and our adjacent developer to the east, who's working on some multifamily projects and will continue this trail on into where the Atlas Mill River Park is to the east of us. So we're going to try to connect these two sections. But in working around on the site, we thought there was an interesting opportunity with this triangle, as shown in the graphic here in pink, of surplus land. This was the place where the fork in the road went, or fork in the trail, the tracks, went for the railroad when they would have one spur line that would be bringing in raw logs to the mill that used to be on the adjacent site. The other one would be carrying out finished lumber goods. So there's kind of a Y-shaped piece that happened there. The city's leadership had the vision to acquire that right-of-way as part of their overall Atlas Mill master plan, and this section is now, doesn't have, according to the staff report, a whole lot of immediate obvious use for the city. So it's not on the tax rolls. It's a very natural state of land at this point, and it was sort of surplus to the needs for the trail profile passing through that area. So last summer, we got together with the city, so working on almost 9 months worth of good faith negotiations now, trying to say, hey, wouldn't this be cool? Could we create a win-win deal here that says, wouldn't it be nice to create, in particular, a second trail pathway for joggers and slower speed walkers, while there's higher speed runners and cyclists that would go by on the paved path, really trying to emulate some of the best practices that the city has adopted in the Atlas Mill Park next door. So if you go east of here, that trail profile exists, and it's been, to my understanding from talking to the Parks Department, well received. So we thought, hey, couldn't we do a trail and another trail? Wouldn't that be better, 2 for 1? So that was an interesting idea in discussion with staff. We also described how this is a little bit of undeveloped ground, is kind of behind a noise abatement wall from the waterfront homes to the south of our site. So it's a little bit of an unwatched area. And so, Councilman Wood, from your law enforcement experience, that's not a great place to be as a trail user. So maybe we could partner and put some lights across there. We've also done that same standard at Atlas Mill River Park. And so there's a chance for us to extend some public safety lighting for users of the trail that might be in the dusk hours of the shoulders of our rapidly increasing daylight hours. But over the winter, it's pretty dark back there. Thirdly, we were partnering with Heritage Health on the idea of maybe we could get a chance to bring people into this site and try to have them exposed to more of the Center of Healthy Living opportunities. So I'm going to switch to the next exhibit down below, which is our current plan for the project, which is showing the graphic here of the dark gray original paved trail sweeping through the project. This is about 1,000 lineal feet of trail. The red dots are illustrating where we're proposing putting light fixtures that we're going to partner with the Vista Utilities on it. They're the same fixtures that are the city standard down the way in the Atlas Park. The lighter gray piece here is the proposed compacted gravel trail, which sort of meanders alongside, but it provides two channels for users to take advantage of this public right-of-way without creating conflicts between slow walking strollers and the rapid bicycles, and or someone who's coming from the adjacent Center for Healthy Living trying to figure out how to work fitness into their lifestyle and how to be exposed to some of these other opportunities to improve their quality of life. One of the other aspects we're going to add into this project as we propose are some art sort of niche kind of little pockets off to the side of the trail. This picture here is an example at the Atlas Park where this already exists, and these locations in the Atlas Park in the picture were partnered with the City Arts Commission to provide an opportunity for public art. In conjunction with the leadership at Heritage Health, they thought maybe we could put some sort of exercise equipment out here. If you've ever traveled out towards Silver Beach Marina, there's a Vita course out along the Centennial Trail out in that direction. So if you're jogging along, you can stop and do push-ups or pull-ups or other ways that people can engage in the physical fitness journey. So we thought, wouldn't it be a great idea to make a spot for one of those to potentially exist? The exercise equipment isn't included in our proposal, but Heritage really liked the idea of saying maybe we can get other philanthropy from the community to partner with us and offer these kinds of amenities right outside our Center for Healthy Living. So when a family has come from our community and says, Dad needs to get his medications checked, Mom's got a therapy appointment, the kids have a dental appointment, and maybe you'll stop off and do an annual physical just to make sure you have adequate wellness. In addition to that, there's a chance to engage with them about outdoor exercise opportunities by bringing these enhancements to the trail. Because we all know there's a lot of cyclist traffic in this neighborhood, we've got an amazing trail network in our community. We've worked with Maudie to propose a bike maintenance station, kind of like what we have down here in McEwen Park, that this is a chance that if you've got a flat tire or if you need to get a little tune-up because your stem is wiggly, you'd stop here. And maybe you'd stop here and think about, hey, what's that project behind me? Maybe I could get some signage from the Center for Healthy Living, engage with them as well. So working with the philosophy of what Heritage Health is trying to do to create this very publicly approachable Center for Healthy Living, we sort of bundled this set of benefits together in conjunction with the city to say, how would we assemble a package of benefits that would make sense to maybe trade for some excess land next door? It's not on the city not on city tax rolls, and it's not really providing any public benefit. So how would we take something that the public is not benefiting from now on its appearance and offer a set of public benefits that people could really use and enjoy in our community? So we've come together with that proposal. This trail network does continue to offer a connection, if you'll see on the screen, where this will sweep up and enter into the complex of the Center for Healthy Living. And scrolling back up one sheet, this is the opposite side of that building, where we now have a pathway striped connection working through our building, working all the way up here to the ADA accessible ramp and a new CityLink, I couldn't remember the name, CityLink bus stop up here to again allow the public transportation network to engage with the Heritage Health Center for Healthy Living. So what this will do is create an interesting kind of throughput path to allow the community to engage on both sides of this complex, in addition to some of these added enhancements and amenities we're proposing. So a lot of details in there, but it's been a long back and forth conversation. We've had great partnership with the city. and the leadership who said, hey, let's find a reasonable value for the property and a basket of improvements that the city can offer to the community for true engagement, and we'll put the piece of property back on the tax rolls. We have no immediate plans for this property next door. As you can tell from the original graphic, there is some empty land over here. We don't know what that needs to become. We're waiting to see Heritage Health and their leader, Mike Baker, have amazing visions for what they want to do in the community. We've been in conversations with them about maybe additional kinds of programs that they could offer to the community. But the reason why this is important now, and we've started this conversation, is that the frontage improvements of the trail are an obligation to a pending building permit to complete the construction of our project. In order to get our certificate of occupancy, we owe the community those public improvements. So I'm kind of at a bit of an intersection here where I need to continue this for our summertime construction season in order to deliver the healthcare clinic, which is our primary objective, and we're hoping we have a reasonable win-win proposition that we've worked with in the city for this. So far, it seems like it's been met with approval in our previous conversations, but we're here in the public forum to make sure that this is the best interest of the city, and happy to stand for any questions that you may have.
Are there any questions for Chris?
Not for Mr. Meyer.
I'm going to recognize
Oh, sorry.
Christie.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Not for Mr. Meyer, but for Monty. Monty, did you get a chance to look at the packet Councilman Scheckler added an addendum?
I did not.
Oh, well then I don't have any questions for you. I'll speak to Randy, if I may.
Please.
Randy, did you have an opportunity to look at the addendum added by Councilman Scheckler?
The letter to Mayor Gookin, yes, I did.
The mayor, thank you. The gist of it is he's concerned about the fact that we didn't get an appraisal done. And at the last discussion over this, I tended to agree that staff should seek an appraisal on future projects. It's difficult to make some of these decisions without a true appraisal, but this has been in the works for 9 months. There's been a lot of back and forth, and I like the project a lot. I think that we wouldn't do much on our own, and it's going to be so much better for the community. But my question, Randy, is some of his points that...
Wait, hang on.
Oh, sorry.
Do you have a question for the applicant or for staff?
Staff, Randy.
Oh, okay, thank you.
Okay. Councilman Scheckler wanted the appraisal that it would be a standalone for that little piece of property, but then he went a step further that it would also be assembled with an adjoining parcel for a true appraisal. And for me, just my experience, is that wouldn't be anything that government could do. That's more of a private market sort of thing, but for government, I thought we would only look at the value of our little tiny piece of property.
Well, pursuant to the statute 50-1402, council sets the value of the property. It doesn't say how you set the value. You can ask for an appraisal. You don't have to. Your judgment as any property owner as to the value of the property to you is accepted by the state as a valid exercise of your discretion.
Okay. And then I guess I do have a question for Monty, if I may, Mr. Mayor.
Please.
Monty, can you give me an idea of how you came up with the value on this small piece of property?
Actually, I got the list from Chris, but I will say before we get to that is, it dawned on me, we were talking about a pocket park that's in one area, triangle, about a half acre. Even if we developed that as a pocket park, we wouldn't get a linear park that we're getting here, which is, they're basically providing us with a park. It's just a linear park instead of a pocket park.
Okay.
But I can have Chris come up and talk to those numbers as far as how they broke down. Do you remember the cost of each thing?
Sure, perhaps if I understand the question a little bit differently from the council member about how the price was set, perhaps.
Sure. Yeah.
The discussion was an open conversation about what does the city have invested in the project and what is the current fair market value of what that is. And it was an interesting piece we wrestled with because, to the points that have been raised, it's an isolated parcel with no utilities, no public access, and it's hard to encapsulate what that might be. So we decided that the best thing to do in conversation with city leadership and the team was that if the city can recover the money they've invested in it, which is doing nothing for the public now, recover that original investment and get the benefit of the public improvements, that felt like an appropriate value to set. So it absolutely was per the discretion that city attorney had mentioned to say this is a two-party conversation about what's a fair value to the city to propose. And I said, well, that makes sense to me. Within that realm, I can do a couple of really neat things here. Of course, at some point, the sky's the limit to say what could we do with this. But at some point, the opportunity doesn't really match up between a fair value that was negotiated and the basket of improvements that can be exchanged for that.
And as far as the list of items, he had broken out the cost of each one of those things, and then we had put in the cost of the skate park solar lights to come up with that list that matched with that value he spoke of the parcel.
Great, thank you.
Any other questions for the applicant? Yes.
Well,
Kenny.
it's more of a comment, Mr. Mayor.
Please go ahead.
Okay. So I guess value is an interesting word, isn't it? Because what's the value to the council to get this done and enhance our park system? And second, I think we're in a great position right now to help Heritage Health, which is a huge asset in our community. So I think that, Chris, heard you say win-win a couple of times, and I think that I can't think of a more appropriate way to say that, and how lucky we are to have this in front of us right now. And I support it completely.
Okay. Any other questions? Yes, please.
I'll just comment that it says improvements and things of equal value, and it's at least equal value. My personal opinion is we're coming out ahead in the deal. So.
Any other questions for the applicant? Okay, well, I'm going to close the public hearing. And before I ask for council action, I did tell Mr. Scheckler that I would read his comments, since they are directed to me. So we'll all in the room know what we're referring to with these comments being the words of Daniel Scheckler. Monty, do you have anything to add before I read this?
No, I don't. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Apologize for not attending the council meeting of March 3rd as he's going to be preoccupied. As a council member and steward of public assets, I respectfully request that council reconsider the exchange of the half-acre parcel of land at 3700 West Southeast without first obtaining an independent appraisal. Item 1, the proposed valuation method using inflation-adjusted acquisition cost is not a reliable indicator of fair market value. And he states his reasons here. Number 2, although the parcel is limited standalone marketability, its true value is realized when assembled with the adjoining 10.06 acre parcel. Item 3, the tax valuations suggest a higher value. Item number 4, it is unwise to bypass the regular bidding process because we are not exchanging for unique real estate, but instead for fungible improvements to real estate that could simply be purchased with cash. Number 5, disposal of the parcel is not urgent. And number 6, I appreciate all Parkwood does for our community. Now, he's not here to make any motion. If anyone has any questions specifically on any of his items, I'd be happy to read the details. They are available in our packet if you have a concern, but like I said, he's not here to make any motion or take any action on this. So otherwise, I will be looking for council action.
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to make a motion to approve the exchange of a half-acre parcel owned by the city, which is portion of tax number 24207 and located behind 3700 West Southeast Way and along the future Atlas Trail connection for improvements to city-owned real estate to be completed and paid for by Glacier 3700 Southeast Way LLC, the parcel improvements being of equal value, specifically $85,000.
Second.
Is there any discussion on the motion?
Well, Mr. Mayor, if I may.
Yes, Christie.
We've kind of discussed this the last time at the last meeting, and we talked about what Kenny said, what's the value to us? And a lot of what we do is a value judgment. And I absolutely can understand the reasoning behind an appraisal, and I'd like to see staff consider that in the future for these kind of projects. It's just cleaner for us if we have an actual appraisal. But I really like this project. I think it adds value, great value to the community, and I feel that we wouldn't do it on our own. And so I think it's a fair trade, and I'm in favor.
Any further discussion? Roll call, please.
English,
Yes.
Wood,
Yes.
Evans,
Yes.
Gabriel,
Yes?
Motion carries. Sub-item B is Resolution Number 26023, which is approving a development agreement with Glacier 3700 Celtice LLC for improvements to city-owned real property in the amount of $85,000. Council.
Mr. Mayor, I would like to make a motion to adopt Resolution Number 26-023, approving a development agreement with Glacier 37 Celtice Way LLC for improvements to city-owned real property in the amount of $85,000.
Second.
Motion and a second. Any discussion on this motion? Very good. Roll call, please.
Wood,
Yes.
Evans.
Yes.
Gabriel.
Yes?
English.
Yes.
Motion carried unanimously. Now we move on to item K, adjournment.
Mr. Mayor, I'd make a motion to adjourn.
Second?
Motion and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? We are adjourned. Thank you, everyone.
Yes.